Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live stream event by Black Ivy Media. My name is Rita Pierre, and I am the CEO and founder of Black Ivy Media, a platform that seeks to change the narrative of the Black diaspora through digital media. So tonight, we are discussing self-defense. April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Awareness Month. And oftentimes we focus on the sexual assault awareness, but we neglect to talk about the prevention piece. And so tonight we have a very special live self-defense demonstration by instructor Sonia from the Brooklyn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who is going to be doing the live demonstration for us to kind of show us hopefully some life-saving moves, right? We live in New York City for the most part, and for those of you guys who are tuning in, there is just so much going on in the city. There are assaults happening every day on the train, on the platforms, as you're walking to go and come home from work. And many of you are wondering, what can we do? What should we do? Are we to carry, knife combs? Are we carrying tasers? And with that being said, some of us are wondering, can we get arrested for these things? Like, there's so many questions that we have. Can we carry a fork? And a lot of us are really just confused, right? And we should be confused. We should be really terrified during the times that we're in right now. But self-defense is something that's been around for a while. Self-defense courses such as karate, jiu-jitsu, these are ancient art forms that many of us have really just kind of overlooked. And so for this month of April of Sexual Assault and Prevention Awareness Month, we want to kind of reintroduce you to some of these art forms and to really empower you guys and to let you know that there are many ways to keep yourself healthy, to keep yourself safe, and to really keep yourself empowered. Not just through this month of April, but really moving forward, as assault is something that does not just take place during the month of April. It's something that happens every single day. And so without further ado, I would like to bring instructor Sonia here, who is going to take us through some self-defense moves, really, right? Show us some moves. I am a layperson. I do not engage in any type of karate, jiu-jitsu. I am not trained at all. I'm an everyday person who tries to go to work, who's trying to go to the store just like everybody else. And so I myself, am terrified most of the time to leave the house, especially in recent times, right? The last couple of weeks have been very, very scary. And so Sonia, I'm really excited to kind of learn some moves that can potentially be life-saving.
Yes, hopefully I can give you all some new tools. When it comes to self-defense, just so everyone knows, there is no right or wrong. You do what you have to do in the moment with the tools that are aware to you, right? Or like that you have learned, or things that you have come across. The most important thing is that you do something. So when we talk about self-defense, usually what happens, or oftentimes, we get approached by someone, or we see somebody coming to us, or somebody sitting too close to us on the train, or says something that we're actually trying to ignore. Usually, when that happens, there's a gut instinct that tells you something is off. And when actually that happens, and I've been reading, or a lot of people have talked about this book, which is called The Gift of Fear. So I recommend that. It's by Gavin DeBarker, talking about the intuition that we have. Like, it's a natural instinct, a fight or flight instinct that tells us actually something is wrong. Maybe there isn't, but it's actually better in this situation to actually think, I better keep my distance. So when somebody is approaching you and you actually feel uncomfortable, standing parallel with your feet next to each other is actually not a good idea. The reason why is because our heels are aligned, and you can feel that if you're at home and you're standing. Just look at your heels and then just balance a little bit. And if you're balancing backwards, if somebody is pushing you, you're just falling backwards. So when somebody comes close to you, you're gonna get into this staggered position, like kind of two train tracks, right? And this is like It's very easy, nothing, it doesn't look like something is up, right? You're still very relaxed, but the person is approaching this position. That way, you have a foot in the back, or you have one foot in the back, so if somebody's pushing you, at least you have this, right? If somebody's pulling you forward, same thing, you have a little bit of a weight distribution here. Then, the hand position, obviously, is also very important. Obviously, you don't want to go into this position right away, because who knows, maybe the person, hopefully, is just asking how your day is going, or like asking for directions, or maybe is asking you out, who knows. But again, down here, it takes way too long to bring your hands up close to your face. So what you can do is called the interview position. You're just going to bring your hands up close to your face. You either fold them into each other, or you just talk with your hands. Because that way, if the person comes too close, you can extend your hands out, right? That is a sign for everyone that is around you that something is up, that you don't want any trouble, that this person should go away, right? Also, like this is the distance the person can come close to me. The person cannot hug or anything like that.
I noticed how your feet are in that staggered position as you are moving back and putting your hands up.
Exactly, because if the person comes back, obviously that is a karate move, that is a jiu-jitsu move, that is something, even in kickboxing, that's actually what you learn. And any martial arts that you can do is great, because as you just talked about empowerment, yoga is amazing, and it gives you the center. Any martial arts gives you that power and that confidence that you can actually do something. And so you in this position you always have some balance. Same thing, if you put one leg into too close to the other, like in this ballet position, you have the same thing again, like your heels are aligned and you can't actually you don't have balance. And I'm going to show you the different weight distributions now. So I'm just going to ask you, so let's say somebody is going to pull us, right? So I'm just going to ask you, and this is for training purposes, which is it's easier to see, to grab my wrist with your thumb up, and then you're going to do this as well, right? So if my feet are parallel like this and you're pulling me forward, it's very easy. But once I put my foot back and sit on my back leg, it's really hard. Even if you're very strong and you're pulling, thank you, really, that's good, that's a good demonstration. Pulling harder, you are just moving in these stance. And when this person or when the person that is trying to pull you, when they're pulling you, they're actually thinking of the pull and trying to pull you away, not that you're actually preparing yourself to get out of this grip. So first you're going to get into the space, you're sitting on your back leg, so this pull doesn't happen, because you never ever want to go into a second location. The first location is better than the second location. If somebody is trying to pull you somewhere, it's always worse. So whatever you can do, stay where you are. So you're in this space. Now you want to make sure that your hand becomes really strong, so you're making a tight fist, so you're engaging all your muscles. Now, this looks like a very strong grip, but it actually isn't. So here are 4 fingers. So obviously here, it's not going to work. Here is only 1 finger, and you can see that here is a little bit of an opening. Even if somebody has very, very big hands, this is your way out. So what you're going to do is you're rotating your thumb towards their thumb. Bring the elbow close to the person, and you're getting your hand out. This motion, bringing your elbow in and coming close, seems a little bit counterproductive, but the more I do it, the more you see that you're actually, you have to loosen the grip, right? So even if the person is really strong, this is going to do it. And then obviously you don't want to hang out here. You're just moving away, and you're putting your hands up, and then you move away. And if you can't, obviously you run out the other way. So you're just gonna do it as well, okay? So I'm gonna grab your wrist, so just come this way a tiny bit, so you have a little bit. So you're just going to step the opposite foot back. Exactly, you're sitting on your back leg. Yeah. Now you're looking where my thumb is pointing. You're rotating your thumb and bringing your elbow in towards my elbow. Yeah. Really good. And let's try it a little faster. Okay. Yeah, good. One more. Yeah, really awesome. Okay, so that's that. So that's the thumb is pointing this way. This is the easiest way to learn that grip. Usually, what the person will do is probably grab you like this, right? The person might come from behind and will grab you like this and try to pull you this way. So obviously now the thumb doesn't point up, the thumb points down. So what you're going to do is rotate your thumb towards my thumb and down, down, and you snap it down. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So you snap it down. Amazing. Really, really good. Yeah, really, really good. Awesome. So that's what happens if there's one grip. Obviously, if they probably can't pull you with one, they might use the second hand. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to grab my wrist with two thumbs, two hands. Thumbs up. Okay. So same thing. First, you're going to get into the base to actually buy yourself some time. Then you make a tight fist. Obviously now this is not working like we did before. So now we actually have to use two hands as well, like Rita is using. So now I'm going to grab my own fist right here, right over the top. You're going to pull your hand all the way up to the ceiling over your shoulder. You go up and out. What you want to avoid with this one, with this grip, is actually knocking yourself out. So you don't want to go right to your head. You want to go towards your shoulder and out. But because the person is using two hands, you need to use two hands as well. So let's try it. Okay. All right. So first you're gonna move your face. Good. Yep. Tight fist and up and out. Good. Nice. One more. Up and out. Yeah. Awesome. Very good. So that's obviously when somebody is pulling us, we need to sit on our back leg. Now it's gonna be a little bit different when somebody is actually pushing us or trying to choke us. Okay. So I'm gonna ask Rita to just put her hands on my shoulder right here and. Pretending to choke me. So obviously now if I would lean back, she would push me to the ground, and that's usually the attacker's goal, is either to get you against the wall, and we're gonna look at that too, what to do from there, or down to the ground. So now still, I'm gonna make a base. When we're gonna make a base, we're gonna step 1 foot back, and then now the weight is on our front leg. So we're pushing in, so we're not gonna get pushed either to the ground or against the wall. We have to still buy ourselves sometimes, so we're going to shrug our shoulder, because obviously the person is going to try to get all your air out. So just a little bit of time. Now, hold on tight, because this motion is important. It needs to happen at the same time. So you're lowering your level and you're circling your head out. By lowering the level, it seems a little bit, it seems too easy, but actually by lowering that level, the grip loosens. If you're trying it this way, it's not going to work. Lowering and out, does. And then you also move away. So you want to turn towards your back leg rather than your front leg, because if you go towards your front leg, you're still too close enough to the person. Going towards the back leg, you're out of the way. Okay, let's try this. Okay. All right, so you're going to make a base, so you're going to step 1 foot back. Good, now you're leaning into me because I'm trying to push you back. Good, you're going to shrug your shoulders first, buy yourself some time. Good, lower, circle, yep, and up. Yeah, good, okay, one more. I'm going to grab your shoulders and massage your shoulders. Okay, yep, shrug, lower, and out. Yeah, nice. So yeah, this, there is, I don't know, I don't remember who did this, but there are a lot of scientists that work on this, that the brain can only focus on one thing actually. So if you're focused on the grip, you're only focused on the grip, and you're holding on so tight that actually when something else happens, your body just can't keep up with it. So I think that's what that is. Okay, so we have that, but obviously as we could see that we needed some space behind us. So now let's see what happens when somebody pushes us against the wall. Can we see the wall from here? Okay, because obviously from here, the same thing can happen, right? Or we can't do the same move. So from here, if I'm going down, that's probably what the person wants. But still, we gotta buy ourselves sometimes. So we're gonna shrug our shoulder. It's only a few seconds that you have here. Now, you're gonna find whatever finger is available to you from the person. Usually the pinky is the easiest. You're gonna turn your thumb down, you're making it kind of like a handle. But we can see it from here. And now, so the reason why it's a handle and not like this is because you don't have a lot of motion in your hand. You can see it already going back. So now, once you're pulling your thumb down like this, you can actually pull the hand down. So you don't want to pull it out this way, you're actually yanking the person's finger down, right? This is probably the only, or one of the only ways, not the only way, but it's one of the best techniques that you have from here, one of the easiest techniques, just shrugging your shoulder, finding whatever finger is available. It doesn't matter which one, but usually the pinky is the most sensitive, and you just turn it back. Okay, it strikes. So shrug your shoulders first, good. Now pinky, yep, nice. And then pulling it, yep, really good. A lot of people usually like pulling it out this way, but you're pulling it just down. And obviously, in a self-defense scenario, your safety is the most important thing. If you're breaking the person's finger, not so much. I mean, yeah, as you just said, like, like there can be like, who knows what's going to happen, but your safety is the most important thing.
Now, would you, because I watch a lot of these movies, would you pair that with a yank and then a kick to,
You can, or once they're like totally. I mean, like once this is done and the person leaves, totally. I mean, if you wanted to just knee, probably the best is yes, for sure, the groin or the face, right? If like the person goes down because they're in pain or something, it's probably the best to just keep right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are a few things. There is. I wonder if we should look at what to do. I was also thinking about what to do when somebody is grabbing your hair.
Right.
If you wanted to do that, or something from the ground as well.
If it's possible to even do both, because I wanted to actually touch on the ponytail story, because I've often heard, women should be careful about wearing ponytails because it's so easy for somebody to like snatch and grab.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that's, I don't want to say it's that a myth, because it does seem, like, okay, I can grab the ponytail and make it easy.
Yeah.
But, I guess, what are your thoughts around that? Or should women stop wearing ponytails?
Should women stop wearing ponytails
Right.
or skirts or anything?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
unfortunately, hopefully one day this will, nobody, like all will be solved and we're living in a better place in the world. And I don't think it's necessarily just a ponytail, but I think whatever they can grab, they will grab, right? So like and the hair is painful, right? So the hair, you do have to go down. You see it even like when I train in jiu-jitsu or something, and I have just a ponytail because I'm lazy in getting the fancy jiu-jitsu braids and stuff. Somebody knees on top, like knees on your hair, and you're like, I can't move.
Right.
You want me to move? Sorry, but then you gotta lift. You gotta lift your legs. So yeah, let's do that. And again, like a lot of things seem a little counterproductive because you're actually going into the person. Because what we're gonna do when you're pulling my hair is actually confirming the grip. Okay? So you just just grab and just pull. Okay, so that we can feel, right? So you need to, like, even if you're doing it at home, you need to feel that little pull so you can actually grab the person's wrist here. Okay. Now, I step my foot back because that's an automatic thing. You're gonna step whatever foot that your intuition or your body tells you back. Now, I'm confirming the grip because I actually don't want to let that person go because I actually want to get out of it, and the person will keep on pulling. So now I'm going to turn into the person, rotating all the way to the person's back with the hand until the person lets go, and I'll push away. This is kind of like a more, so you're pushing the hands all the way up, which is becoming very painful for the person to do. Let's see it one more time in a different angle so you can see this one. Yeah. Maybe you can see the hands. Maybe then you can turn this way so you can see the hand. So you will be confirming the grip pull. So you're stepping your foot back, whatever foot you feel. It will be the right foot. Now, you're going to reconfirm the grip. You're going to turn into the person. Again, this seems counterproductive, but this motion once you feel like, you feel that hand behind you, you feel it's going to get uncomfortable, and you're actually letting go. Obviously, you're gonna push it up way more, and then push the person away, and then hopefully run away.
Now, what if it's an individual, like, how does height play in this? So let's say
Not
it's
at
somebody.
all.
No,
No, not at all.
okay.
Not at all, because because the person is going to pull you back. I mean, hopefully not all the way to the ground right away, right? Hopefully you still have a little bit of space, because then obviously there will be other things that you need to do. Yeah, but height and weight, especially in jiu-jitsu or in these self-defense techniques, do not play a role. I mean, sometimes if the person is really strong, you are not gonna be able to get your hand out in like one try. It may take 2, 3, 4, but you're gonna try, and eventually the person will not be able to hold that grip. Because again, this is not a strong grip, or it seems like a strong grip, but it isn't, because you always have the weight out here. And then the same thing goes actually when you are on the ground with that. So, and yeah, do we want to go to the ground?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, this might be a very, this might be like I hope it's not, but some of the techniques maybe that we're going through and some of the techniques that you see might be a little triggering. If they are, know that we're here, and yeah, any questions that you have are valid, and everything that you already did in this position, you did what you needed to do in that moment. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you is actually to put your 2 knees down here. So you're basically coming into, you're basically coming into my heart. So this is like obviously already like a very bad position, right?
Okay,
So you're actually coming this way. You're coming even closer to me, okay? So this obviously seems like, in jiu-jitsu, this is actually not the worst position because you always have your legs, right? But obviously in this position, you're having your legs open. If the person is really, really heavy, come a little closer if you can, and push your weight a little bit onto me. If I'm trying to push you to the back, that's going to be really, really hard for me, right? But what I can do is actually what we can do in this position is push ourselves back. So we're using the leverage that we have here. So I'm going to extend one leg. I'm going to plant the other foot. It's like it's on the side. You're just going to push yourself out of the way here. Straighten yourself out. Move away. Kick. And that's it. So like basically what you want to do is getting out of this of the person putting your heavy weight into. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to do it actually because that might be the easiest.
Okay. So.
Like this. Good. So you basically having your legs right here and try to push against me very hard because obviously I'm putting my weight on top of you, right? But now you can push yourself. So just hold your hands right here. Straighten this leg out. But this foot is down. You're gonna push yourself off of this leg. You're gonna shoot your butt this way. So you're gonna, exactly. See, you're already pushed yourself up. Hands behind you. Sit up. Screw away. Kick. Right here. Yep. Exactly. Because obviously that person is going to have a face right here. So
Okay.
That's how you want it to
Is it possible for you to do that again in another angle? So
Of
we
course,
can-
yeah. Good, up.
So I think maybe do this way so that they can see maybe, I want them to see the leg that shot.
Good shot? Yeah,
So
okay.
whatever that angle is. I'm not sure, cameraman. We want
You want to
to
see like that, like when you, because if my leg is this way, I'll push
Yeah,
my hips this way.
right, we want to be able
If
to
my
see
leg is
that.
this way, if this one is straight, you push your hips this way.
Okay, so I think that might be a good enough demonstration, yeah, 'cause I just want everybody to kind of see what that leg did that pushed away.
Yeah, this one, so you cannot push the person away, but you can push yourself away. So you can use that momentum or that leverage to just push yourself, and you did it, right? So you did it. because even though I leaned onto you, you had it right there. And
Right.
then from this position, obviously, you just moved, got yourself a little
Right.
space, you're straightening yourself out, hands behind you, move away as much as you can, hips up, and just kick.
Right.
So the reason why you're moving away a little bit is so that you actually have a little bit of space for
Right.
the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. I think we were able to capture that.
Yeah,
'cause I think
awesome.
that was such an important move
Yeah.
because I think that a lot of times, like that is the position a lot of people find themselves in.
Yeah.
And when you are like, that's the first thing you do is
Yeah.
like try to push the person off of you.
Yeah.
And when the person's body weight,
Exactly.
it's like, what are you supposed to do? You start punching, jabbing. So I think that move right there is what I would consider like a life-saving move.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that people saw like how you shimmied out of that.
That's good. It's actually called shrinking.
Oh, it's
Or
shrimping.
actually shrinking.
Shrimping. Okay, shrimping out. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but that's a really good point. And also, a lot of like a lot of self-defense or like a lot of assaults happen, as you know, also happen through people that we know. And sometimes it's because of that, we might be afraid to defend ourselves, right? But then there are just a few of these movements or moves that will keep the other person relatively safe. But again, like I shouldn't care as much about their safety as your safety. They shouldn't even like come close to you, like in the first place. They should know their space, and that's that.
So what about, I know we talked about like the hair pulling, the ponytail, but what about that move where the person comes behind you with their, hand over your mouth, your nose, and then like starts like then dragging you or pulling you back?
Okay.
Is that kind of?
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of movies, And I actually I was watching something before I came here, and that's exactly, they got right behind them as they were walking and then dragged them from behind so the person couldn't hear, they couldn't see who it was. So how, is there a way that you can get at something like that?
There is, and again, like it has, like weight does not make it, or weight is not important, or the height is not important. Actually, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's why I actually love Jiu-Jitsu, and I think that Jiu-Jitsu in general is probably one of the best self-defense martial arts that you can do. Not that, any martial arts to empower yourself isn't easy, right? But as a woman, I would probably, I hope I can actually, because I also do kickboxing, I also do karate, I hope I can stop the person right when the person walks towards me or something with a kick, or even with a knockout punch. I hope, but who knows, right? So we probably end on the ground, and that's where Jiu-Jitsu can help you. And you can see actually where that's, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was invented by the Gracie family in Brazil. It comes from Japan, but was there made popular. They are all very small people, very small men, but it's like they worked in the UFC in the 1990s when they came up, like through like all the big people, and because of this right technique, we're able to submit them or throw them and stuff like that. So let's go with that. Yeah. Okay. So we can do it this way. So for this, you're just gonna wrap your hand around me like this. Yeah. Like this. So you're basically around the shoulder. So just pull me back. Usually you're gonna step one foot, same thing, because you wanna, it's a natural instinct, you're just gonna step one foot back, and it will be the right foot. If you can, you're gonna reconfirm the grip. If the person is standing right there and trying to keep pulling you, you're gonna turn yourself out. Your foot is behind the person, and you're just gonna throw it over. But then also, if the person turns with you, it's going to be a little bit different, okay? So I'm going to be a little gentle, and I'm not going to do the whole move, because you haven't done Jiu-Jitsu, and I would be a very bad instructor if I would do that. So just keep on pulling. So here, you're going to lower your level, you're going to load the person's weight onto your hips, and you're basically throwing them over you.
I see. Okay.
So you have to like you're going into like this stance, and you're shooting your hips up into them.
I see. All right. And now I'm piecing into what I was watching earlier
Okay, right.
of the person who's just moving around, but I see what you're saying. It's kind of like they're pushing you, and now you're pulling.
Yeah.
You're pulling kind of like outside to kind of like throw them off.
But for that, you have to hold that hand, which again seems counterproductive, right? Because you want to get that hand off, so you're going to try to get out of this like in any other way, or peel it off, but you actually have to pull it towards you. Because otherwise you're not going to get out, right? Because otherwise that person might do something else with their hand, but you're going to just reconfirm it. You're going to step out so you're parallel, and then you're turning. And either like if they're not falling, their hand, usually they would let go by then, because they're like thinking that something else is going on. So you at least have that right away.
Okay. All right.
I hope that was helpful.
No, it's very, very helpful. You know, as I'm thinking about the moves that we just went through, I'm like, these seem to be all, like, again, life-saving moves. And I'm just like, I don't know if I remember all of them. So I feel like repetition is definitely important when it comes to this, right?
Yes.
Because we're thinking about, again, it's always been unsafe, right?
Yeah.
We can't say that the world was so safe and all of a sudden it's not safe. I think we've always kind of lived in an unsafe environment, especially in the city. But I think now things are getting a little worse and people are very much concerned. And we're thinking about how do we prevent, assault, and how do we keep ourselves safe, I think, more so, right?
Yeah.
How do we leave our homes every day feeling empowered that we can walk the streets and we can keep ourselves safe? So with respect to then self-defense classes, I think we're starting to maybe hear a little more about self-defense classes now. So I want you to talk a little bit about, I think today we've seen the importance, at least, of what learning some self-defense techniques can do for you, right? Like for me, I'm like, I need to sign up for a class because I feel like if I know this stuff, I'm good in the streets. But to talk a little bit more about, the importance of self-defense classes and kind of really reassuring people that what we saw today, people can get it. Because some people, after watching this, they're like, man, this looks really good, but I don't think I'll ever be able to do this. But really just kind of talking about the different elements that kind of go into self-defense, that it's not just, karate, it's not just martial arts. So if you could talk to us about that.
So I came in through the martial arts. I'm doing this for 8.5 years now, but I've never done any sports before. I wasn't really athletic or something like that. And it was through my roommate. She trained at this location where I'm now working at. And I started with kickboxing, and I really enjoyed that. And the kickboxing part or the karate part, it's really nice because you have a partner, but then you don't need a partner, right? And you can build your confidence, and you can build your strength, and you know where your strengths are, and you know where your weaknesses are, right? As I know that my kicks, they probably are pretty good. If I need to, that you'll train that. So that was very helpful. Then for jiu-jitsu, as you saw, especially with the one on the ground, and jiu-jitsu is a lot of fun. It's like rolling around. It's called the gentle art, by the way. But you are very close with other people, right? So, and then especially because it's all martial arts is very male dominated with a lot of men. The interesting part for me, or I think the most helpful part for me training in jiu-jitsu is actually knowing how strong men really are. Because even in this fun scenario, right, we're rolling, we're sparring, so to say, it's like, this person is using a lot of strength right now, even though they are not supposed to use strength. I guess now I have to think about my technique. But it really is, I considered myself always, and still am, very feisty. But maybe maybe a little naive before I did martial arts. And no, I can do anything. I'm gonna scratch. I'm gonna kick. I'm gonna um, but yeah, it's like it shows you that actually, yeah, the person is strong, and then actually your safety is more important than anything else. So that if you can avoid something like that, you will try to, like, for example, like trying to, and I have to remind myself that too, like sometimes when I go home at night after closing the dojo, being like, I'm not going to be on my phone, right? I'm starting, I'm like, not such a good idea, I'm not like, I'm not praying what I teach, walking the talk, so to say. So, like being more aware of what's going on around us, right? Crossing the street when we feel uncomfortable. Again, like it's not, I feel like, especially as women, we're trained to be like, I remember, like, my dad saying, don't be like that. Come on, don't be like that. It's all fine, don't, why are you worried? Why are you scared? It's all, I feel like that's like how we grew up. I think it's changing a lot, thankfully. But we as women were taught or told not to listen to that intuition or not be a woman, basically. Like be more like a man, right? Or behave more like that. But yeah, so like this intuition, like moving away when you feel uncomfortable is, I guess, really important. Or for example, in The Gift of Fear, in that book, they have a lot of these scenarios where, like people just walk up to the apartment with them, basically. And usually what happens is, and you can do this in like with friends, female friends, same thing. Looking where they understand your boundaries, right? If you say no, a person should not be like, oh, I'm just trying to help you. Come on, why are you doing this, right? It's like, oh, I want to carry. Let me help you carry your bag, and it's like, no, I got it. And it's like, no, come on, I'm just going to carry your bag. And it's like, no, I don't want it. If the person is continuing to do that, you can already like see that there might be, might not, but be another intention behind it, right? So, and that's the same with everything, right? If you tell somebody to stop, the person should know that they stop, right? That's that. That's the boundary. That's the not the easiest, but it's like one thing where you're like, oh, that person maybe doesn't respect me as much as they should, because I actually said no. I actually said stop. So yeah, I think that's training in martial arts has definitely helped me create this awareness around me and space and safety a little bit.
So you said it also helps build like that confidence as well too, because I know that that's something we talked about offline. That confidence is also very key when it comes to self-defense and when it comes to like self-protection.
Yeah.
And many people, unfortunately, do not have much confidence, right? And sometimes that might be why they're subject to attacks, right?
Yeah.
They're open for attacks. Yeah. I know one question that I had gotten in preparation for this was with respect to, I know you said size and weight stuff doesn't matter, but women who may be overweight, maybe even men who are overweight, who may wonder whether or not they can engage in self-defense. They might think that they're too overweight to do some of these moves that we're doing here. But it seems like that's not the case, that it doesn't matter how big or how small you are, anyone can engage in self-defense.
Exactly. And I mean, then it's, and I know we all have our own, like insecurities to work through, and, like I have every day, like feeling, especially in class, like when I do something wrong, not feeling like I'm holding the class back or something like that, but technically, and that's what we at Brooklyn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu do. We're very inclusive. We're not training any fighters at our schools and stuff. It's especially our basic program is all about self-defense. And then obviously it becomes more and more in like the advanced training, but it's it's not like a show off, right? So, and it's basically put your ego aside. Everybody's working on something and everybody's working hard. And let's acknowledge that. Let's acknowledge that we are in this together and that we're both learning from each other. So I would recommend it to anyone, even if it's a little bit harder, because obviously some of the moves, like coming back, like if you're older, if you're a little bit overweight or something, it might be a little bit harder to come back up onto your knees or something like that. But there is always something, like even for me, there are techniques that I cannot do, or they are not cannot, but they are not working well for me. And there will be others that are actually working really well for me because of my size. And that's exactly for another person or other person that are bigger, that are stronger, it's the same case, right? Like a technique that works for me because of my size is not working for them at all, or they cannot get it right. But that doesn't matter, because when you train for self-defense, you only need a few, right? Because there are a few things that you can do from this position, but you might only need this one. Might be the one that is actually stuck with you. There are a lot of things that you can do when you're against your wall and somebody's trying to choke you, but maybe this is the easiest. Or maybe another one, but the technique that you learn will actually stick with you. But I can only recommend any martial arts that you do is going to help you boost that confidence. Any martial arts, Krav Maga, kickboxing, anything. You can do it out there.
Now, with respect to, so let's say, I'm tuning in today and I'm like, you know what, I need to learn how to defend myself because I live in New York City, I'm a single woman, I live alone, and I'm terrified. I ride the trains, the Q train, recently something happened on there and I'm just terrified. I've never done any martial arts before. I'm not really interested in being a UFC fighter. I don't want to do this forever. So how many sessions would I need in order to kind of get the routine down, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, we did a couple of moves today. I hope I can remember them when I leave today, but I probably not.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many classes or sessions would one typically need in order to kind of get some of these self-defense moves, committed to memory?
Yeah. Because as you said, it's like all is muscle memory. I think it's individually, I would say that, but I would give it a good try, like maybe 6 months or something. Just so you get into the routine, you get into the habit, and then maybe you like it, maybe you don't, and you keep it as a workout routine. But the more you do it, the better, right? One class is better than one, 2 classes are better than one, and so on. That just is the case.
And so for like a 6-month stint, are we talking about like 1 class a week?
Twice a week.
So it's twice a week.
Because that's like the best for your muscle memory. More than twice, 3 times is great, but like twice is perfect. In general, working out 3 times a week is actually a really good way to stay healthy and to stay fit. If you do it once a week, it just takes longer.
Okay.
Right? It takes longer because you're in, maybe you do it one day on Monday and then the other day on Friday, right? So then it's already longer than a week. It just takes longer to see your own progress.
I see.
When you do it twice a week, it's great. When you do it too often, you have the same thing as you would do it only once a week. Because eventually you can't see your own progress anymore. It's there, probably, but you don't see yourself progressing.
I see. So essentially it's kind of like when you're taking a course. So it's not like going to the gym in a sense, because again, for me, if I'm doing self-defense, I'm thinking I'm doing this for a purpose. I'm wanting to learn life-saving moves. Okay, so that's...
I can say from 2 experiences, from 2 of our students that we had. One of them, she might have just practiced maybe 2 months. Was studying not yet in advanced class, and maybe just moved into the advanced class where you do a little bit of more rolling with the other person and stuff, or sparring. But she got attacked also, like just by like walking back from the train, back home, not late, like at 8 p.m. maybe. It was actually, interestingly enough, when we had women's personal protection seminar. I don't know if she was walking to our seminar or not. The person grabbed her from behind, grabbed her bag, and yeah, tried to pull her down and stuff. But she remembered a few things. I mean, she got injured, but she knew because she was like, oh. And in one moment, she was like, there's space. I can do this. You know, I have a little bit of room. I have a little bit of space to just move out. And she was able to actually, well, not get pulled into the car. And apparently, like, that's what she remembers, right? She was thrown to the ground. She had a concussion. But she remembers looking at the car door was open. And then the police found the bag, like,
Wow.
Like, I don't know, maybe in New Jersey or something, right, with the car. So it would probably, what looks like that the person wanted to take her somewhere else. So she did something, and then we had, from another woman that I know was sharing, that was a domestic violence situation, and very scary, but she defended herself like pretty good, and also had maybe a year of training.
Right. Right, and then that's really what it is, right? It's training.
Yeah.
Right, and when you said muscle memory, that resonated with me when you mentioned a young woman who, you know, they tried to take her, they got her from behind.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, so if I took, even if it was 2 classes,
Yeah.
again, I might not remember everything, but I can imagine the more you're doing it, the more, because I assume that when you're in these jujitsu classes, and you're simulating situations, right? So the more that I'm doing it, the more it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And so if somebody comes, it's just going to be an automatic in that mode. So I guess with respect to, since we're in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
with the Brooklyn Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, how can people sign up? Some people might be wondering, wow, I loved what happened today. I want to learn more. How can they sign up with you guys?
So we are doing, I started this in February. We're doing a free women's personal protection seminar every month. Next one will be May 12th. I will definitely share it with you, so then you can share it with everyone. Then we also have an introductory special that is a private lesson, gets you a uniform, and then you have 2 group classes for $20. And there are also actually Groupon options available. I mean, to be honest, if I'm like promoting, I'm promoting empowerment, because obviously we would like to have everyone start training with us, and so we get all the membership, but that's not what it's about, right? So there are Groupon options available that are 3 classes and a private lesson, and or 6 classes and a private lesson. And with the 6 classes and a private lesson, you get, like maybe a month or something if you spread it out a little bit, already a little bit of training, and you can see if it's something for you want to continue or something, or not. And then if you enroll with us, it's a regular gym membership. There's no commitment at the moment, so it's like you train for a month or 2, you take a break, you train again, or later.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, Sonia, thank you so much. I think that we learned, I hope everybody learned something today. I definitely learned a lot. Again, I cannot remember everything, but I am inspired myself to go and sign up, for whether it's jiu-jitsu or some sort of self-defense, because I think that it is important. Even if you're not living in a city as crazy as New York, but you're living elsewhere, assault can happen anywhere, right? It can happen, in quiet towns, it can happen in the suburbs, it can happen anywhere. And I think that the confidence piece and the empowerment piece of knowing that you can defend yourself, knowing that you can essentially save your own life if need be, I think that's really critical. And so I think that just knowing that, you can get, even with some of the positions, I'm like, wow, I can actually just wiggle my way out. Like, you wouldn't know these things.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's important for us to empower ourselves with this type of knowledge. And so I thank you for taking the time out and demonstrating and showing us some of these moves, and then just kind of getting, us inspired and motivated to, again, hopefully join a self-defense program, whether it's with Brooklyn Jiu Jitsu or somewhere else, whether it be karate or, like you said, kickboxing even, but something self-defense so that you can protect yourself. So
Yeah, I think you have where you can, like, as you just said, where you just feel that you have power, right? That you have like strength, because we all do, but sometimes we really need to see it, right? Like even with kickboxing, even if you're punching the bag, you know that you have a strong kick, and it's like, okay, there's something.
Right.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, thank you. And I know that we were supposed to have one other person join in. Let me just take a look to see if they did. Oh, yes, she is here. Okay. So, hi, Tamaya, how are you?
Hey, how are y'all?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us. We're doing
Oh,
things a
no
little
problem.
different this time. Usually, I'm behind the computer with
Uh-huh.
everyone else, but we're actually doing a full live stream. But thank you for tuning in.
Oh, no, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed it. And look, I learned some stuff too.
So, Demaya, I just want you to take some time to introduce yourself. I know some people are wondering, who are you? What is Pretty Defense? So, take some time to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay, my name is Damaya. I'm the CEO of Pretty Defense. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I started Pretty Defense 2 years ago, right in the midst of COVID. This idea basically came like it was like a light bulb went off. Because I noticed there was a need for women to start carrying around self-defense products. Due to all the human trafficking that was going on at the time, especially in Atlanta, where I was at the time. I recently moved back to New Orleans, where it's 10 times worse. But there was a lot of human trafficking going on, a lot of sexual assault, and I just wanted to be involved. And I just wanted to make women more confident with carrying self defense products. So I came out with Pretty Defense, which we have a line of self defense products that are like a cute accessory to women so that they could be more confident carrying it, where the products they don't necessarily look like they self-defense products. We have lipstick tasers and cute pepper spray, bling pepper spray, so that they can be more confident carrying it because it goes with their outfit.
Yes, yes. I actually thank you so much for sending the
Oh,
kits. I
you're
want to kind
welcome.
of open them up and get looking at to some of them. So let's see here. So aren't these cute, guys? These are really, really cute. So right here we have the self-defense product. They came in this really, really cute bag. And so I want to just take them out piece by piece so that you could maybe explain some of these. And then we'll have like just a brief conversation because I know sometimes people are always wondering about whether or not they can get these items, if they're legal to walk around with, things like that. So first this is the keychain,
Yes,
right?
yes, that is the self-defense keychain. It actually has a pepper spray on it, which is
So this is the
that.
pepper spray.
Yep, that's the pepper spray, and then you have the purple pointy. That's our puncture tool, which is actually called a Cubiton. That tool is versatile. You can actually use it to jab someone with it, or you can break a glass if you're ever trapped inside of a house or a car.
Ah, okay. I think I have seen this. If you're in the back of a car, you can break the window.
You can break the window.
I see. Okay. And then I see this thingy right here.
Yep, and then you have a flashlight, just in case if you're walking in the dark. And because I tell my girls not to be on your phone when you're walking outside in the dark. Take the AirPods out, take the
Right.
phone out of your hand. Have your keychain
Yes.
out so that if anything happens, you're ready at all times.
Right. Right. And then there's the little pretty defense So this is really cute, ladies, because I know sometimes nobody wants to be walking around with like bulky, pepper spray. So this is really cute. Nobody would think that this is self-defense all wrapped up in one here.
Yeah.
And so this thing was pretty interesting because I've never actually seen a taser before in real life. I was like, what is this thing? So it comes looking like this.
Uh-huh.
This is how it's, so this is a taser.
Yes, it's a stun gun. We're not gonna say taser, stun gun.
Okay, a stun gun. Okay. Girl, I don't even know.
The difference is the stun gun that you have to be close on the individual, and the taser is more likely what your police officers have that they initiate the tase and it comes out.
Okay, so explain this again. So this is a stun gun.
Yes, it's a stun gun. You actually have to be in close contact with the assailant in order to deploy the shock that's on there.
Mhm.
But they have over 1 million volts, so that if you hit them in the correct place, it will take them down.
It will take them down.
Yes.
Oh man, so I'm looking at this thing here because I have not operated this bad boy. It might just.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the plastic off, there's actually like on the side there's a power button.
Yes, I see the power button here.
It's an on and off button, and then you also have a flashlight that's on there, and then you have the shock button as well.
Yes, okay. And then where the metal pieces are, is that where you would administer?
The metal pieces at the top that's the shock, but there's also one at the bottom. It's a sliding mechanism. If you slide it out, that's how you charge it. You plug it into an outlet and charge it.
Okay. So now some questions that I know when I was talking to some of my friends, I'm like, I found a website with the knife combs and all this other stuff. Now they're wondering, what's the legality with walking around with a stun gun and a knife comb?
New York is kind of different.
Yeah,
different. You guys can have the pepper spray for self-defense purposes only. Mm-hmm. But however, the stun guns are a little bit different. They do not advise women to walk around with the stun guns in the state of New York. However, you do have some instances where people, they do get them because they feel like, I need something to protect myself.
Right.
So it's like a case by case basis. I do let my ladies know, like, look, hey, they are illegal in New York. And they be like, look, I don't care. I need something to protect myself. So I need to be able to purchase it or whatever. But I always tell them, your pepper spray, you can always get it. Pepper spray can be carried around no matter where you're at. I think the only places that really don't allow it is outside of the U.S.
Okay.
Outside of New York, everywhere else, U.S., you can walk around with your pepper spray. Your stun guns are different. They vary state by state, and everyone has to pretty much look up the laws in their area to make sure that they can carry the stun guns. However, the pepper spray, you're good. The Cuban guns, you're good.
Okay, and so pepper spray is not the same as mace.
What they are kind of like the same. It's like the peppers and how they consume it that is the difference. Yeah, so it depends on what manufacturer you get it from.
I see. Okay, cool. So basically, let us know the website where we can purchase the Pretty Defense items.
My website is www.myprettydefense.com, and we are at pretty_defense on Instagram.
Okay, great. And so I know that we had asked people to RSVP on Eventbrite, so we're going to randomly select somebody, and we are actually going to send out a kit to one of our guests selected from our Eventbrite pool. Mm-hmm. But no, I really, really thank you for coming on here and just talking a little bit about it, because I know that, especially in New York, I know you talked about your New York ladies, there's been a lot going on, and people have been wondering, where can I get a knife comb? Where can I get all of these items that, we've been hearing about, people have been posting about? We're like, where can we get them? Yep. And so we're so happy that we were able to find you, Because now we have these cute, chic, undetectable items that we can. I mean, nobody's gonna know that we're coming for them with this.
Yeah, no, nobody definitely. It doesn't look like they're like, oh, that's for girls, but
Right.
it's power in that keychain. Definitely power in that keychain.
Right. There's a lot of power here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is amazing, and I really commend you for doing this. I mean, this is definitely, I'm sure it saved a lot of lives, and it's going to continue saving lives.
Yes.
And although it's Pretty Defense, and I know it's mostly geared toward women, but I mean, men can get on this too, right? This is for anybody.
Yes,
who wants
most
to.
definitely. Most definitely. I have men who purchase stun guns all the time.
Yes.
They like, hey, look, I'm gonna get a black one. You have different colors, and they're like, look, I want a black one. Can you sell me the pepper spray just by itself? I'm like, sure. So yes, you can definitely get in on it also.
All right. All right. Well, Damaya, thank you so much for jumping on here and sharing about your business. And I will definitely be reposting. We have a flyer that has you on it, so we'll definitely be reposting your website and how people can get on to this goodness. And like I said, we are going to be shipping out one of these kits to a randomly selected viewer tonight, but we're definitely going to keep in contact. I definitely want to have you on for a full episode.
Okay, yes, definitely. Let me know. I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys for having me.
Welcome. All right, and everyone, so thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Protect Yourself. Let's talk self-defense. Again, April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, and we don't just want to keep the conversations to the month of April. We really want to be able to have these conversations and discussions throughout the year. Again, assault is something that happens every single day. It doesn't just happen to women, it happens to men, it happens to children, it happens to adults, it happens to old people. There's no discrimination when it comes to assault, and that's something that we at Black Ivy Media, we really make sure that we raise awareness when it comes to this, because it is an area that's really affecting the Black community, because we don't talk about it enough. And so we hope that you guys continue raising awareness with us. We thank our instructor Sonia for coming on and just showing us some self-defense moves. I really hope that you guys were inspired to go out and learn self-defense. If you don't want to do it for a year or 6 months, that's fine. But as Instructor Sonia said, one class is better than no class. And again, anybody can become a victim. And so why not empower yourselves? So we ask that you guys continue following us on our platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube. We have a lot more in store for you guys as always. And again, thank you to all of our viewers. And for those of you who are going to be watching this after the fact, we'll talk to you guys next week. That's it.